Hey everybody, Steve here in New York City in Manhattan, standing in front of Grant's tomb and memorial. This is where he and his wife are laid to rest, Ulysses S. Grant. And I just missed the 200th anniversary of his death, which happened just last week, just a few days ago. They say this is the largest private mausoleum in the US. And in photos and videos, I mean, it looks large, but you can't even imagine how large it is until you see it in person. It's really, really impressive. And yeah, I can't imagine any other final resting place, any other private columbarium this large. I mean, it's just enormous. And the bells are from the church across the street, the cathedral here, and it's partially under construction on the other side, but just about everything seems to be under construction these days. I've been on this road trip and I don't think I've visited one place where something wasn't under construction. So I guess that's a good thing, that things are being renovated and repaired and being kept up. Now, right over here is the Hudson River, if you've never been here before, to Manhattan. This particular part of Manhattan is in the north, the upper part of Manhattan, the Upper West Side, and even though there's a lot of traffic and it's still very congested, and it took me over an hour to find a parking spot. Actually, I didn't find a spot. I had to pay for parking in a structure, but it took me an hour just to find a parking structure where I could park. It's only a couple blocks away, so that was nice. But this is one of the least congested parts of Manhattan, so I was happy about that. I really didn't relish the thought of driving down into downtown Manhattan, which can really be congested if you're driving especially. So I lucked out this morning. I drove here from Philadelphia. Took a few hours, a couple of hours. Actually, I stopped in Princeton to visit the gravesite of Grover Cleveland. He's on the way from Philadelphia to New York. I stopped at his gravesite. It was still raining a little bit, not too bad, and it rained the entire way until I got here, and then the rain subsided. So right now I feel a few sprinkles, but it's not bad. And by the way, in case you're interested, parking in the parking structure was, let's see, I think it was $29 for 1 hour, and then $39 for 2 hours, something like that, I can't remember. And I'm not sure how much it goes up to after 2 hours. But really not as bad as I was expecting. I thought it was going to be $50 flat fee to park for whether it was an hour or all day. And for those of you who are interested in seeing what the traffic was like just for me to get here, taking the Pennsylvania Turnpike Toll Road and the George Washington Bridge over the Hudson River from New Jersey to Manhattan, keep watching until the end of this video. It was quite an experience, and one that I'll never forget, because it made visiting this presidential final resting place far and away the most difficult of all the presidential gravesites I visited. Grant's tomb is 150 feet above ground. President Garfield's tomb or memorial is 180 feet tall, so it's actually taller than Grant's tomb, but in total size and volume, Grant's tomb is the largest. But they're both pretty extreme, spectacular, and over the top when it comes to final resting places. Hello, is there a charge to get in?
There is none.
Pardon me?
There is none.
None. Okay, thank you. Are you always open?
We're not always open. We're open Wednesday to Sunday from 9 to 12 and then from 1 to 4.
Okay. So he was just saying they close at 12 and open at 1, I guess for lunch. And I just happened to get here and walk through the mausoleum right before I just left, just as he was closing up. I'm glad I got here when I did. I'm heading into Manhattan. I'm in New Jersey right now. In the cash lane, it says that it's $16 for cars. And it's like this the entire way across the bridge, according to my GPS app. I'm heading to Grant's tomb, which as soon as you get over the bridge, you make a right and go, and then it looks like it's all green, like there's no red on the app. It looks like there's very little traffic, if any. And it's not too far up, maybe just a few miles, 5 miles or so, I don't know. I guess I'll find out. But so I already just paid $10 on a toll earlier this morning, and then now it's $16 for cars to go over the bridge. And the bridges, I mean, boy, my car is like falling into some of these potholes. So I don't know what they're doing with all this money. $16 per car to go over the bridge. That's insane. Well, there's no one here to take my money, and I don't see a place where I'm supposed to put my money. So I don't know what those signs were about. Maybe they'll just photograph my license plate and mail me the toll. They sure don't make it easy to pay your toll. So I had my money ready to pay, but there was nobody there. And then I looked, and there was somebody there. She was just busy talking on her phone or something. And then it looked like maybe they were just going to take a picture of the license and send me like they do on some of these. But then she opened her window, but I was way too far, so then they told me to keep going. So I have no idea if what's going to happen. I'll probably get like a ticket or something. A week or two after returning home from this road trip, I did receive a fine in the mail for not paying the toll to go over this bridge. Talk about frustrating, since I actually was sitting there in my car with $16 in my hand, ready to pay someone, but the toll taker didn't open her door, even though I stopped at her door and waited. The good news is the fine said that if I paid by a certain date, then I only had to pay the toll and not the fine. So that's what I did. So just a heads up in case you're taking the same route that I took. I've been to Manhattan a few times over the years, but I never drove in. I always flew in, and then I just took cabs and buses and subways to get around. This week I want to give a shout out and a very big thank you to my newest channel supporters, Sue7011, Nancy Elward, and Zing Wilder. Thank you all so very much for your extra generous donations to my channel using YouTube Super Thanks. Your donations mean a lot, and they really do help make future trips like this possible. So thank you for joining me on another historic road trip to the past, and until our next trip to the cemetery together or a private mausoleum like this one. Thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.